You're self-centered and you know it. And in this episode is gonna be a doozy. I'm gonna talk about Olivier the Fox. I'm gonna talk about Kimblee because I love him. You know that. And I'm gonna talk about Raven, the most empathetic and amazing human being you are ever gonna meet in your life. And this is episode 37. Let's go. So, in this episode, if you didn't watch my last episode, just go back and watch it. You know, episode 36. If you realize in this episode, Raven dies. And in this conflict that goes on, the three characters I'm gonna talk about, which is Olivier, Kimblee, and Raven, they all represent different things. Raven represents the state. Olivier represents the nation state and the country, and meanwhile, Kimblee represents the individual. Raven is killed mostly because if you notice, Olivier, which represents the nation state and the people, it just kills the state because the state is cannibalizing its people. The state got too overbearing, so much so it treated the people so badly that the nation state had to do some action and they actually killed the state for a better future and self-preservation of itself. Again, we kind of have to realize all institutions and the people, in a way, they have to represent, they look to self-preservation. Of course, most of the time, the institutions, they are way more organized and they have way more facility. You know, they more easily self-preservate. Meanwhile, the people are way harder to self-preservate. The people would go against the kings and the authorities in the before times way faster because it was easier. The state had, let's say, less power because in before the nations were way less centralized. There was way less people. There was way less bureaucracy, and of course it comes back to that same argument about too much centralization of power, too little centralization of power, which I'm not gonna get into because it really doesn't matter so much. But what's just important is that the state is cannibalizing its people in this anime, and Olivier kind of represents his people, which is just killing the state for a better future. But the real paradox that I want to talk about, really, in this episode, is essentially, you know, between Olivier and Kimblee. Because really, Kimblee represents the individual, and Olivier again represents the collective. And that's a really cool paradox because, of course, I don't think anyone is an island and anyone can just live by itself. And at the same time, if you just appease the collective and appease, you know, the family or whatever, in detriment to yourself too much, basically you are also not gonna live because you're just gonna be a slave to the state or a slave to the family. Of course, dude. No one's gonna be able to just live as a slave. No wonder. And nowadays, of course, if you're too self-centered, society right now just goes against you and tells you you're an individualist or whatever. You're just too self-centered, and you're ashamed today for being an arrogant ass. Which, again, it's not good. But again, if you're too self-centered and you're just gonna be living alone, you're also gonna be unhappy. So of course there's a middle ground there. Like everything that I'm talking about in all these episodes. You cannot be too self-centered and you cannot just be a slave to the state or to your own family. You have to look out for your own interests and just, you know, be kind of arrogant and self-centered sometimes. Meanwhile, and you know, there's a real tension in this dichotomy because the family kind of needs all its individuals and the individuals need the family. So there's a real tension there. The family needs to serve the individual, meanwhile the individual needs to serve the family. And you kind of need to find an equilibrium between both. And that's a very interesting discussion that, I'm just analyzing anime, and it's something you need to analyze for yourself in your own family, both as a son and both as, as a husband or a wife or a daughter. And I'm not gonna really get into it too much in this episode because, I'm just trying to keep this brief. Thank you very much. If you guys like the channel, subscribe. If you guys like the episode, hit the like button. If you guys have some constructive feedback, please comment below and make me a very happy camper. Thank you very much and see you guys next time.